Hello and good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Hafiz Marzukhi. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim suggests that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong should only consider former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Razak's bid for house arrest after the conclusion of the ongoing 1MDB trial. Anwar emphasised that as Prime Minister, he will not override the King's authority and that recommendations will only be made if requested by the King.
Though there's ongoing process still. There's ongoing trial on the 1MDB case. I think let the process continue. If the King is supposed to ask for my advice, I would say, Your Highness, go to the process, but the Constitution provides for the King to finally decide. And I think as Prime Minister, I shouldn't supersede the King.
Najib is facing 4 counts of abuse of power and 21 counts of money laundering involving 2.27 billion ringgit from the Sovereign Wealth Fund. He filed a judicial review to compel the government to implement an alleged supplementary order by the former Agong linked to the partial pardon that halved his jail sentence to 6 years and reduced his fine from 210 million ringgit to 50 million ringgit.
100 trees will be planted for everyone felled in Kuala Lumpur. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim says the order was given to the Kuala Lumpur Mayor following 2 recent incidents of large trees toppling in the city.
Last week, the Kuala Lumpur City Hall said certified arborists had identified 28 trees in the city as high risk. It said the affected trees would be felled soon. On May 7th, a tree on Jalan Sultan Ismail was uprooted during a storm, killing 1 person and injuring 2 others. Another tree fell on Jalan Pinang on Monday, disrupting traffic.
Communications Minister Fahmi condemned Meta's action of removing posts related to Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim's meeting with Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Fahmi says he will be meeting the media giant next month to discuss the matter after at least 3 media portals informed him that their social media posts had been taken down.
Sebagai Menteri Komunikasi, saya kecam tindakan pihak Meta untuk menurunkan artikel ataupun posting daripada media dan apatah lagi kerana ini adalah pelaporan tentang lawatan rasmi Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri ke Qatar dan pertemuan dengan sayap politik sebuah organisasi, bukan sayap militan ataupun sayap militeri. MCMC telah menghantar surat kepada pihak Meta untuk mendapatkan penjelasan.
He was commenting on Facebook removing posts from Malaysia Kini and Sina Harian, claiming that the postings shared symbols of associations defined as dangerous. Meanwhile, another news portal, Malaysia Gazette, said it had its Facebook account deleted after posting about Palestine last month and was forced to create a new account. Fahmi said he will be meeting all social media providers in June so that official events by the Prime Minister will not be treated this way in the future.
Police have revealed that it can take as little as an hour for predators to groom a child for sexual relations. Bukit Aman says that within this small window of time, victims may be vulnerable to sharing their home locations with predators online.
Principal Assistant Director of the Sexual Women and Child Investigation Division, Siti Kamsia Hassan, said many predators take advantage of children's vulnerability through social media. She said the process often involved luring victims with sweet words and gestures to quickly build trust. The use of the internet and telecommunication devices facilitated this process as the victim and predator would chat online, plan outings and use e-hailing services to meet in person. Siti Kamsia said Selangor had recorded the highest number of sexual crime cases in the country, followed by Johor. Based on police statistics, many cases of child sexual crimes also occur among the B40 group due to financial difficulties, unemployment, and lack of education.
Employers have until May 31st to register and contribute to the Social Security Organisation or SOCSO before penalties are imposed for non-compliance. SOXO Chief Executive Datuk Seri Dr. Muhammad Azman Aziz Muhammad says this will be the last chance to comply with the regulation before Ops Kesan is implemented in June.
He said the requirement applied to both local and foreign workers, including domestic workers. Ops Kesan is conducted to ensure that all employers register their companies and employees under the Employees Social Security Act 1969 and the Employment Insurance System Act 2017. Failure to register can result in a fine of up to 5,000 ringgit. Azman said during Ops Kesan last year, more than 21% of employers were found to be non-compliant. Most of them were employers of small businesses that began after the pandemic.
Harimau Melaya and Selangor FC winger Faizal Halim, a victim of an acid attack, still requires close monitoring despite being moved to a normal ward from the Intensive Care Unit or ICU. Deputy Youth and Sports Minister Adam Adli Abdul Halim says that the treatment process for the football player will be lengthy, although he is currently showing positive progress.
Adam told reporters this after inaugurating the Semarak Hari Belia Negara at Kementerian Belia dan Sukan 2024 program here today. The media reported yesterday Faizal Halim had been moved to a normal ward after spending about 9 days in the ICU at the hospital following the recent acid attack. On May 5th, Faizal Halim, fondly known as Mickey to fans, suffered 4th-degree burns on several parts of his body after being attacked with acid by an unknown individual at a shopping mall in Petaling Jaya, which affected his movement and speech. The player, who won the Best Goal Award at the 2023 Asian Cup in Qatar last January, is expected to be out of action for 5 to 6 months, causing him to miss 2 matches in the second round of the 2026 World Cup 2027 Asian Cup qualifiers against Kyrgyzstan and Taiwan next month.
Sarawak is establishing the region's first climate change centre in a bid to spearhead Malaysia's response to the global crisis. Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg says the central hub will coordinate, manage and support all climate change initiatives and carbon trading in the state.
Abang Johari said studies on setting up the centre had been completed, paving the way for its future development. He added that his government was also drafting a climate change policy to establish a carbon footprint baseline. It is also working on low-carbon blueprints to improve waste and flood management, reduce urban carbon emissions and promote green technology.
We'll go for a short break. Stay with us.
You ready?
Ready. Hello keluarga Astro. Nikmati Heroes, saluran komplementari yang membawakan anda bintang-bintang ternama. Adegan paling mendebarkan. Aksi-aksi terhebat.
Now help me save the world.
We're all gonna die. Just not today.
Fire! Yes, sir!
Dan mereka juga menawan hati. Stream bila-bila masa, cara yang anda mahu. Momen kegembiraan yang menyatukan kita. Bersedia untuk Heroes. Percuma untuk semua pelanggan Astro.
Welcome back. Lawrence Wong has been sworn in as Singapore's new Prime Minister, the 4th in the country's history. The 51-year-old replaces Lee Hsien Loong, who has been in the job since August 2004. Lee, son of the country's first Prime Minister, Lee Kuan Yew, stepped down after 2 decades at the helm, but will stay on as a senior minister. Similar to his predecessors, Wong is a member of the ruling People's Action Party, or PAP. The stage is now set for a general election in the city-state of 6 million people, which is due by 2025. Before taking office, he promoted Trade Minister Gan Kim Yong as one of his 2 deputies. The other deputy is Heng Swee Keat.
and that I will preserve.
A manhunt is underway in northern France for a prisoner who's escaped during an ambush on Tuesday that killed 2 prison guards and injured 3 others. A minute's silence was also held at 11 a.m. local time, with demonstrations reported outside French prisons.
Mohamed Amra, known as The Fly, was being driven back to prison from a court in Normandy when a car rammed his prison van at a toll booth. Gunmen then opened fire on the vehicle, killing and wounding officers before leaving the scene and taking Amra with them. The Paris prosecutor said that the 2 vehicles believed to have been used by the perpetrators were found scorched in separate locations later that day. An annual flood of cocaine into Europe has fueled organized crime across the continent, leading to violent confrontations with police and deadly turf wars between gangs. French prison officer unions have called for walkouts at institutions across the country in support of the 2 who died. They demanded urgent measures to improve staff safety, including reducing the number of prisoners transported to court hearings by promoting video conferencing.
At least 2 people have been killed and hundreds injured in the Pacific territory of New Caledonia as riots continue. This is, of course, in response to the French Parliament giving French residents there more voting rights.
What began as pro-independence demonstrations have spiraled into 3 days of violence beginning Monday, the worst the French Pacific archipelago has seen since the 1980s. People were reportedly seen torching cars, setting buildings alight, and attacking police stations. Rioting continued even after a nighttime curfew and ban on public gatherings were imposed on Tuesday. The violence started after lawmakers in Paris voted to grant French citizens who have lived in New Caledonia for at least 10 years the right to vote in provincial elections. This angered many locals, who say it marginalizes and reduces the vote of New Caledonia's indigenous Kanak people, who make up about 40% of the 300,000 population.
Palestinians today mark the 76th anniversary of the Nakba, or their mass expulsion from what is now Israel. Thousands of flag-waving Palestinians march in northern Israel to commemorate the event that is at the core of their national struggle, demanding the right of refugees to return.
Many of the 3,000 people also called for an end to the war in Gaza as they took part in the march on Tuesday night near the city of Haifa. During the Nakba, Arabic for catastrophe, some 700,000 Palestinians fled or were driven from their homes during the 1948 Arab-Israeli war that followed Israel's establishment. After the war, Israel rejected the Palestinian right of return as a demographic threat to a land it describes as the nation-state of the Jewish people. It has said Palestinian refugees must settle in their host countries or in a future Palestinian state. Palestinians became a seemingly permanent refugee community that now numbers some 6 million, living in Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and the Israeli-occupied West Bank. In the Gaza Strip, the refugees and their descendants make up about 3/4 of the population. This year, the Nakba anniversary comes amid Israel's atrocities in the Gaza Strip, which has killed over 35,000 Palestinians.
That wraps up this edition of AWANI Tonight. I'm Hafiz Marzukhi. Thanks for watching and good night.